Now, more changes have been made to the Scottish Government's controversial hate crime bill. The proposals aim to simplify existing laws while extending protections on the grounds of sexual orientation, religion or trans identity. But the bill has been criticised from some quarters over its perceived threat to free speech. Our social affairs correspondent Chris Clements reports.
The show will go on then. A law aimed at tackling offensive plays or public performances was scrapped today from Scotland's proposed new hate crime legislation. The Justice Secretary announced those changes at the final evidence session on the bill. He also announced stronger protections for freedom of religious expression to ensure conveying mere dislike or antipathy will not be criminal.
It is important to give and afford the protections to people in relation to hate crime. I think that's absolutely vital, but I don't want to dismiss, and I wouldn't dismiss the concerns that people have around getting that balance right in relation to freedom of expression.
The bill aims to simplify existing hate crime laws in Scotland while extending an offence of stirring up hatred. Already in place for race, it aims to apply that to homophobia, transphobia and religious discrimination. The government has already revised its plans, raising the threshold for prosecution under the stirring up offence. Courts will now have to prove intent rather than the effects of someone's actions.
To be convicted of that, you need to have threatening or abusive behaviour, which is proven, with the intention to stir up hatred against a given group. And above and beyond that, there's also a defence of reasonableness in the bill. So if your behaviour isn't intending to stir up hatred, you're not committing an offence.
But even with today's further revisions, there are those who still consider the bill authoritarian.
We welcome the fact that the government is prepared to make concessions, but they're going to have to go a long way to satisfy the very wide range of critics that they've got of this legislation. The concepts at the heart of it are too vague, the thresholds are too low, the free speech clauses are not adequate. And the government has only got one chance to get this right. And if they get it wrong, innocent people are going to be convicted of a hate crime.
The Justice Secretary says he's listening to hate crime victims, today appointing Baroness Elena Kennedy to examine whether separate misogyny laws are required. There are those who support the bill, but think it could also go further.
So, for example, if I'm a Muslim woman, so there's the faith element, and then there's the gender element. The Act doesn't recognize that a Muslim woman would be the recipient or the victim of a particular form of hate crime.
Today's decision reveals this controversial bill still has some way to go before it reaches court. The Justice Committee is expected to report on its findings next month. Chris Clements, reporting Scotland.